When simple backfires, overcomplicating things. Welcome. Less is more. This time we'll talk about a topic with a twist. The phrase, less is more, is something that most of you have heard at least once in your lives. Usually, it means that doing or saying something less is better, right? Or is it? Let's take a different look at it. Ever find yourself in a situation where that less turns into a more, but in a worse way? Like, I'll get the cheaper stuff this time. And then end up using more of it than, say, one would with the pricier item? Or I'll spend less and do the rest myself more. An example of such would be a mother of 2 preschoolers buying bathroom tiles. About 8 boxes of such, each box weighing enough, and saying, "Oh, the delivery costs so much, I can do it myself, 1 box at a time." Before anyone asks, yes, this happened in real life. Thankfully, in the end, the young mother reconsidered and opted in for the delivery. But here's the thing. It can be quite tempting to do something less. Usually, it's money related. Spend less, save more, all that jazz. But sometimes that less backfires and turns into more trouble. Why? Because the mindset is focused on saving money rather than, well, for the sake of the argument, let's call it investing it. The difference is that saving is a short-term goal. Yes, it feels like a long-term one, but it really is not. Why? Because whatever the amount has been saved, it is only saved at that moment as the purchase is being made. Now, with investing, it's more about the long term, because whatever the item is being bought for a higher price will, probably, most likely, last longer. So, in terms of saving money, the expensive investment pays off more than the short-term savings. Why does this feel like financial advice, you say? Where's the psychology, you ask? Right here. The psychology behind these 2 ways of thinking lies in the mindsets. The weak mindset will always look for ways to save money here and now, whereas the strong mindset will consider the cost of the item further into the future. The same psychological principle applies to the way the money is earned. There are tips and tricks for how to think and act like a rich person. YouTube has plenty of advice on it too, if anyone's interested. But that's not what we're talking about. Our interest is in the way of thinking, because that is where all of the habits stem from. The idea is as basic as, aim for less and gain less. Aim for more and gain more. People make decisions based on how they think and feel and how they understand something. So if they think I only need this much too, that means they aim for a certain amount. Because they believe that the minimum amount needed is easier to achieve than earning more than they need. Like $10 compared to $1 million. No, it does not mean that people need to believe in money raining down from the sky starting tomorrow. Nor does it mean that investing all of one's savings into flying spoons is a good idea also. Then what does it mean? It means balance. Sounds like something Yoda or a monk would say? Well, they wouldn't be wrong. It's all about carefully considering the pros and the cons. For example, like fixing a broken item for the entire time instead of buying a new one. Now, of course, it could be so that a replacement costs a lot, and the money is simply not there at the moment. But let's consider this: what is cheaper? Yet another quick fix on the spot, which amounts to the previous fixes and adds to the future ones, probably. Or replacing the item with a new one that won't break down a few times a week, per se? Accumulation is the word. In one scenario, we have an accumulation of growing repair expenses, which in time might and will surpass the price of the new item. Because money is saved now by spending less now. In another scenario, we have an accumulation of money saved later by spending more now. Another thing that differentiates between a weak and a strong mindset is fear for money. Or simply fear. Some people have money troubles, rather, earning money, because instead of thinking how to earn more, all they think about is how not to spend more. aka fear of losing money. The same works for the earn less and spend more type of people. The problem lies in the lack of balance. Or in other words, lack of responsibility. Reasons behind it can be various and numerous even. But for the most part, both types can be influenced by parenting. Like so, frugal parents will teach to be always prepared for a rainy day. Which is great, just no need to go to the extremes, like not treating oneself to something nice once in a while. Now, the complete opposite would be splurging too much. It can also happen that, say, a child of frugal parents ends up splurging on everything when they grow up. Why? Because reverse psychology, the neglect for one's needs drives one to act in the opposite way. Children tend to do one of two things, either follow their parents' example or not. The child's perception of things, as they grow up, form their understanding of the world. Money handling included. Hence why a child that grows up watching their parents spend all of their money now, never spends anything later themselves. The same principle applies for DIYs. It seems easier to do it yourself, because raw materials cost less. But what the person might be forgetting is the time and effort it will take to make the item itself. Wait, one more, how about this? Working more for less. No, this doesn't mean long office hours for less pay, that's a topic for another time. It means working more as in collecting coupons, calling in favors, or staking out sales and discounts to spend less. See the pattern here? Sometimes that simple and easier does not work as planned, because what happens here is that the person is not seeing the situation further ahead now, which in turn ends up overcomplicating the initial idea of simple later. Perhaps right now that less seems better and simpler, but it can end up costing more in the long run. This is where one must ask themselves, is that less really worth it? Health-wise too, just because everything is okay now, doesn't mean it can't get worse later. The examples here are endless. The important part is that once again, we circle back to psychology and perception. A person acts as they see fit, perception, based on their understanding, the psychology, of the situation at hand. How they got here can also be explained through psychology. The action, the present, is based on reasons, the past. Taking these two factors into account, a user of psychology can predict the outcome, the future, too. See? Everything is intertwined. You have reached the end of this post. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more and always remember, mental health is important. Take care.